Hey everyone, welcome to the top 10 list, and here's my top 10 personal favorite Winona Ryder movies. Yes, this is a weird top 10 list because it's Winona Ryder. Yes, who would have thought Winona Ryder had more than 10 amazing movies? Yes, spoilers, she does. And yes, I never would have thought Winona Ryder had a lot of great movies. When I was younger, I was never the biggest Winona Ryder fan. I always thought she was okay, but for the past month or so, I've been watching a lot of these weird independent films or even some big movies I just never seen before, and a lot of them had Winona Ryder in them, and I just realized Winona Ryder has a lot of great movies and she is very good in a lot of movies, so I thought I'd count down my top 10 personal favorite Winona Ryder movies. And yes, heads up, Star Trek is not going to be on this list because, and as always before our top 10 list, you gotta have your honorable mentions. And my honorable mentions are Mermaids, Lucas, Great Balls of Fire, Looking for Richard, Black Swan, Frankenweenie, and Experimenter. All great films, just couldn't make the top 10 list. But what did make my top 10 was my number 10. And my number 10 is Martin Scorsese's period piece movie, The Age of Innocence. Yes, this movie stars Winona Ryder, Daniel Day-Lewis, and Michelle Pfeiffer, and this movie is very good. It didn't make my top 10 Scorsese list because Scorsese has a lot of great movies. Come on, this is no Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, Casino, but it's still a damn good movie, a very well directed, crafted film. It's got great romance, great drama, Daniel Day-Lewis, Michelle Pfeiffer, all fantastic. The entire cast is great, and Winona Ryder really holds her own. This is not the first movie she did with Daniel Day-Lewis, but this is definitely the movie I liked her with Daniel Day-Lewis. They both worked great to the film, and as you all know, I'm a big sucker for period piece movies, and this, of course, had to make the top 10 list. It's a great movie, and it's Scorsese. Coming at number 9 is Night on Earth. Night on Earth is a movie directed by Jim Jarmusch. Yeah, I cannot pronounce his name, but yeah, he's the guy that directed movies like Only Lovers Left Alive and Broken Flowers and stuff. And this movie is five different stories about 5 different cab drivers all around the world. There's 2 places in the United States, LA, New York, and they go to other countries in Europe and stuff. And it's about, again, 5 different cab drivers and their stories on this one night and stuff. And Winona Ryder's story is definitely the best story. It's the first story with her and Gina Rowlands, and basically her story is her, and she's driving this actress and stuff, and she's this lippy cab driver, and Gina Rowlands likes her attitude, and basically she wants to offer her an acting job, but Winona Ryder doesn't want to be an actress. She wants to be a mechanic, and she's not into the all Hollywood scene stuff, and Gina Rowlands is curious, like, why do you want to be a mechanic? Why do you want to do this for the rest of your life and stuff? It's an interesting story, and a pretty comedic story at that, too. I do like a lot of the stories in this movie. Night on Earth is a very interesting, fascinating, comical, dramatic film, very well directed. I love this director's work. He makes pretty surreal movies, but also very deep and poetic, dramatic films, and also pretty funny ones. The second story is also a very funny story. It has Giancarlo Esposito in the movie. He's very funny. That's the story about the guy who pulls this cab driver over who doesn't really speak English and he can't drive a cab, so he drives the cab for him and stuff. Very funny. That's also the story with Rosie Perez. Very funny. That's definitely the funniest story and stuff. The last story is a very fascinating one too, about death and stuff. This movie talks a lot about life and death and stuff, and it's fascinating. It's a great movie. It's got great comedy, great drama, and Winona Ryder's story is definitely my favorite story. So of course this movie had to make on the list. It's fantastic. Coming at number 8 is How to Make an American Quilt. Yes, this is another movie. Very good. Very stellar cast in this movie. Winona Ryder is fantastic. Elfie Woodard is great. Dermot Mulroney is great. Everyone's so good in this movie. Shirley MacLaine, all very good in this movie. Basically, the story of this movie is about Winona Ryder. She's basically getting married, and all her great aunts and grandma and stuff, mother, friends of the family, are all making her this quilt, and basically all of them are telling her a story of each of their lives and how all their lives basically got ruined by men, their husbands or boyfriends and stuff. And basically, the more Winona Ryder's character listens to these stories, she basically doesn't want to marry her husband or fiance and doesn't trust them and doesn't trust men and stuff. And she's very conflicted of if she should get married and start a family and stuff. Is she gonna have a heartbroken and a ruined life just like all the women in her family and stuff? And yeah, it's an interesting story. There's some good comedy, but this is a very dramatic dramatic, romantic movie, and I really liked it. The strongest suit of this movie, Winona Ryder, is very good, but what makes this movie really good, like very dramatic and deep, is all the stories these older women tell Winona Ryder. Like, there's one of her great aunt. This is the best story, actually. The one of her great aunt, and she was a diver, and she fell in love with this boy, and basically she wanted to travel the world, but when she married him, she got pregnant, and he traveled the world, and she stayed and raised the kids, and basically he abandoned her with the kids, and she never saw him again, and that story was just so tragic. I'm like, damn. Then you also learn about other stories, like her grandmother had a husband, but basically he was fooling around with the sister and stuff, and then, there's a lot of great stories in this movie, and they're all very well told. The writing for this movie is very well done. This is definitely not a movie for everyone. Some guys might not like it. They might call it a chick flick, but I don't consider it a chick flick. I consider it a very good character study movie, and I like it. There's great actresses in this movie. It's a very well written movie, and I like it. Coming in number 7 is The Crucible. The Crucible is based off the huge, awesome, famous play, The Crucible. I remember actually watching this play when I was in high school. I actually didn't see the real play with the big actors. I saw this play be performed by college students in Toronto, and I really liked the play. I saw it when I was about 14, and the play was so friggin' well done, and these college kids did a hell of a damn good job, and I never saw the movie up until years later, and then when I finally saw the movie, it's a damn good movie, and it's apparently it's very loyal to the source material, the writing, the direction, the performances, the storytelling. Well, what I watched from the play I watched, it is very loyal to the source material, and yeah, I love this movie. I love the story. This is about the witch trial, the Salem witch trial and stuff, and I love it. Daniel Day-Lewis is in this movie, Joan Allen, Winona Ryder, and everyone's so good in this movie. Everyone's fantastic. The production, the costumes, the atmosphere, the tension, the imagery, everything about this movie is just brilliantly well done. And again, if you're a fan of plays, this movie does feel like a play on the screen. This movie is almost like what Birdman does and 12 Angry Men do. It feels like you're watching a play in movie form, and I love it. This movie's great, and if you find the Salem witch trial a very fascinating story, I think you'll find this movie incredibly fascinating, and I really love this movie. Coming number 6 is A Scanner Darkly. Yes, I've gone on and on about this movie, my Richard Linklater list, my R-rated cartoons list. It's a good movie. It's a very weird, surreal imagery kind of movie. Richard Linklater did an amazing job. Not quite as good as The Waking Life, but still a great movie. It tackled alcoholism, schizophrenia, drug addiction. It's got a great cast. It's got Keanu Reeves, it's got Winona Ryder. It's awesome. The animation's great. It's very stylistic. It's definitely not a movie for kids because it's a hard R-rated movie for drugs, sex, and coarse language and a bit of violence, but it's a very well done movie, very well crafted film, and Richard Linklater, he just needs to do some more animated movies because his movies are very fresh, very original, and just so surreal. Coming at number 5 is Little Women. Little Women, oh my god, I wish I saw this movie months and months ago because I would have put this in my top 10 period piece movies because this movie was just delightful. I loved this movie. I loved the characters, I loved the story, I loved the setting, I loved everything about this movie. I'm a big, again, sucker for period piece movies. This movie was just so delightful. I never read the book Little Women. I heard the book is just a classic, a timeless story, and this movie's fantastic. I love this movie. The cast, of course, fantastic. Winona Ryder, Kirsten Dunst, Christian Bale, Susan Sarandon, Claire Danes. Yeah, this movie's great. It's a great dramatic movie about this family with all these daughters and stuff. Some of them want to live different lives. Some of them want to be educated women. Some of them just want to be free women. Some of them want to be married women. It's just all about these characters and these daughters and stuff and how they go through life and stuff through childhood, adulthood, and it's great. I love this movie. I love these characters. I love how joyful, heartwarming, and just how realistic this movie is. Again, if you love movies like Pride and Prejudice or Emma or anything like a Jane Austen thing, if you're into those kind of movies, then this movie is definitely for you. It's just a delightful film. Coming in at number 4 is Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yes, Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. This movie is amazing. Gary Oldman plays Dracula himself. He's amazing, but Winona Ryder is the second lead character in this movie. She is also really good. She holds her own with some serious talent in this movie. Again, Keanu Reeves is in this movie, Anthony Hopkins as Van Helsing, and you got Gary Oldman as Count Dracula himself. But Winona Ryder's in this movie as the love interest. She could have easily been a very one-note, one-dimensional, cliched character, but she wasn't. She was complex, she was strange, she was bizarre, she was a little twisted at times. You had no idea what she was going to do, what she was planning. At times you think she's good, at times you think she's bad. She's just all over the fucking place, and I loved it. She played her role so freaking good. Bram Stoker's Dracula is so amazing. The visuals are fantastic. The makeup is brilliant. Francis Ford Coppola was a perfect choice to make this movie, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Bram Stoker's Dracula is the greatest novel adaptation of the story of Dracula. It's amazing. This movie is probably my favorite Dracula movie ever, and that's saying a lot because I love the old school Christopher Lee and Bela Lugosi Dracula movies, but this is like my favorite. I love this movie. I love the cast, love the direction, I love the imagery, I love how spooky it is. I watch it every October during the Halloween season. It's amazing. Winona Ryder's amazing. It's my fourth favorite movie she is in. Coming number 3 is Edward Scissorhands. Yes, I know a lot of people say this is a Tim Burton movie, this is a Johnny Depp movie. True, but Winona Ryder, once again, is the second lead character. Another love interest character, but again, just like Bram Stoker's Dracula, she's not cliched, she's not one-dimensional. She has a purpose, and she has a character, and she's incredibly likable. I love her relationship with the character Edward, because Edward is a very strange, unique character. He's not human. He was created by Vincent Price. And she is very good in this movie. At first, she's scared of him, obviously. Any person would. He's a weird, pale guy with crazy hair and scissors for hands. But when she finds out that he's just a very sweet, innocent person, very pure, she ends up falling in love with him and stuff. And I love the relationship between her and Edward and stuff. And I love that she just, screws over that kid from Breakfast Club. What's his name? Anthony Michael Hall and stuff. That entire climax scene is pretty awesome and very dark. Pretty gritty for, I guess, a family movie. But I don't know if Edward Scissorhands is a family movie, but still. Winona Ryder does a very good job. She holds her own in this movie, and I love Edward Scissorhands. It's a brilliant Tim Burton movie, brilliant Johnny Depp movie, but also a brilliant Winona Ryder movie. Coming number 2 is Betelgeuse. Yes, Betelgeuse. Deo, he's a Deo. Oh, this movie's so good. Michael Keaton obviously is amazing. He's the show stealer. Michael Keaton's awesome. Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, Catherine O'Hara, Jeffrey Jones, all amazing. But Winona Ryder, a very young Winona Ryder, is also very good as his very emo, gothic daughter who actually can see the ghosts. Because Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis are dead, and basically they haunt the house, and she's the only one that can see them because she believes in the weird and bizarre, the strange and unusual. I myself, I am strange and unusual. You seem like a normal girl to me. Lose the sheets. This movie's great. Beetlejuice is one of my favorite Tim Burton movies. It's probably like my second favorite Tim Burton movie. It's no Ed Wood, but I love this movie. It's a very funny movie. It's a very darkly comedic movie. The effects, the makeup, all still hold up, and Michael Keaton is just awesome, and I just had to put this on this list because it's Beetlejuice. It's Beetlejuice. And my number 1 favorite Winona Ryder movie is, of course, Heathers. Yes, Heathers. Okay, I know a lot of people are probably thinking, why is this my favorite Winona Ryder movie? Isn't Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands all better movies? Yes, those are all better movies. But as a Winona Ryder movie, Heathers is my favorite. As a Winona Ryder movie, yes. It's weird, but whatever. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite teen high school movies. It's dark, it's gritty, it's fucked up. It's not like your average teen movie. It's not like, Clueless or anything. This is a very dark movie. It's a very darkly comedic movie. And this movie talks a lot about society and people, how people act in high school. This movie is a little deep, a little realistic, but also very funny. The comedy in this movie is hysterical. It's dark comedy. It's one of my favorite kind of comedies. I love dark comedies, and I love this movie. It's also some pretty violent. There's some pretty dark imagery in this movie, some very disturbing content in this movie, and yeah. Winona Ryder and Christian Slater are just fantastic in this movie. They have this really bizarre relationship, and they both work amazing together. They're very good in this movie, and everyone's great in this movie. It's a weird, bizarre, strange movie, and I freaking love it. It's my favorite Winona Ryder movie. So yeah, that was my top 10 personal favorite Winona Ryder movies. So in the comment section below, please tell me, did you agree with this list? If not, give me your top 10 favorite Winona Ryder movies. Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.